with all the information and details on a run walk that they're getting ready for. We have Dagoberto Garza, and we also have Regina Torres. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, first of all, what is autism?
Well, autism and autism spectrum disorders are really a brain development type of disorder. It affects many children in our country. The newest numbers say it affects 1 in 68 American children.
Say that again. 1 in 68?
1 in 68. So the numbers are staggering.
Because it used to be 1 in what, 150?
1 in 150 a few years ago. Then it was 1 in 88 for a while. And the CDC just came out less than a month ago with a new number that shows the prevalence of autism at 1 in every 68 children. So diagnoses are coming by the handfuls, and the numbers are growing and growing. So it is a growing problem, not just across the country, but across the world, as these kids have problems not with speech, with the development, with behavior problems, with a lot of repetitive types of behaviors, and of course the social interaction. And many of them, 50% of them, are nonverbal. They cannot speak.
Okay. Do we know why this is happening?
Well, the numbers are growing more and more, predominantly because we're more aware of it. I mean, April is Autism Awareness Month, and really we do awareness all year long. But April is our month to try to get people to notice the signs, to see when their child is young, because the earlier that you find out that your child has autism, the more likely they are to benefit from the therapies that are out there. So we try to make people more aware of it. So I think the awareness itself, people are seeing those symptoms, those signs, and they're going to their pediatrician and they're getting a diagnosis early. So it bumps up those numbers.
All right. So what are some of these signs that we are talking about? Because you can notice them right away.
Well, we notice them right away because we're in it. Our families have people that have autism. Flapping of the hands, you'll notice that. Sometimes these children, social interaction, they won't be able to make eye contact with you. They'll
and you can see them when they're babies, right? We're talking about what, 2 months, 3 months old. You can start seeing some of this.
Right. Even simple stuff like the way they play. A baby will play a certain way. A child that has autism will play kind of in a more structured way. They'll set up their toys in a row. It's part of the repetitive behavior. And if you were to somehow change that way, maybe the cards are all in a row, and you were to move the cards around, then the child would have an episode, would throw a tantrum because you are changing what they're used to, the routine. So even simple things like the way a child plays can be a factor and can be reason for concern.
Okay, so that may be a red flag. So let's say a parent out there is watching, they're listening to this, and they're thinking, well, maybe something's not quite right with my child. What should they do?
Well, there's a few things they can do, but the main thing they should do is talk to their pediatrician first. Talk about the signs, get proper referrals, and have a behavioral specialist. We have one here in the Valley, and that's too bad. We should have more, but or see a psychologist to go and get a diagnosis to find out if it is autism and where it falls on the spectrum, because autism varies in severity. I mean, you have people that are very high functioning and have autism and have some of the symptoms, and they fall on the high end, and they live a normal life, maybe have minimal therapy, and function just fine. But then you have the severe, the hand flapping, the sensory issues, the nonverbal part of the disorder, where those need intensive therapy. So it just depends on where your child falls and what type of therapies they're going to get.
Yeah, Regina, your brother has autism, so
yes.
Tell everybody at home what it's like, some of the challenges that you face as a family when you have someone with autism in your family.
Well, my brother's 11, and he's mainstreamed in the classroom with all the rest of the other kids, but they notice that he's different. You know, he doesn't quite know exactly how to interact with them because of the social skills that kids with autism tend to lack. They don't know what to say, how to say it, or when to say it. So the kids notice that, and unfortunately it is a problem, and it's hard for kids with autism to make friends, because they shut him out right away, and
And so what do you all do as a family to help them through this?
Well, we try to tell my brother when it's okay to say something like, well, you know what, let's just wait right now. We need to learn how to wait, stuff like that.
And you're there to support him. And I know that you've been very active, speaking on behalf, being an advocate, and
Yes.
you speak in front of our lawmakers, trying to make them aware of autism.
Yes. A couple years ago, I went to Austin and talked to some of the representatives, a couple of the senators, about the needs that these kids have, the struggles that we go through every day, not just my family, but families all over the valley, and they're unaware, and we need to educate them and everyone else.
And that's why ACES3 came about here in the Valley, a support system, a support group for all of these families.
Yeah, and we're the only game in town. I mean, there's some very small groups across the valley, but ACES3 is the largest of those groups. And Regina is one of our ambassadors, and she gets the word out. She promotes autism awareness and kind of educates people. The trip to Austin was great because they got a feel for what it's like to have the whole family is affected by autism, and you can see that. You can see that by how Regina reacts and how she deals with the day-to-day things that happen with her brother. So I think it was good for our legislators to know that there's a great need here. ACES is here to help, but we need more help.
Right, and more can be done. And I know you guys have so many activities all year long to help you with your cause. You're getting ready for your run walk. Always a great event. Give us all the details on that.
Well, it's our 8th annual. It's our ACES Autism Awareness 5K run and fun walk. And it's kind of grown in numbers. We started 8 years ago with just a few families walking around the track. And now we're at Cherryland. For the last 4 years, we've been at Cherryland. And last year we had over 1,500 people there. We had 700 runners do the 5K run early in the morning. And then we had about another 800 to 1,000 people show up for the balloon release and the walk that we do to honor all these kids in the valley and really across the world that have autism. And it's a great event to just have people come together and talk about it. I think the dialogue, what is it, what exactly can we do, where can we find resources, especially for families that have just received diagnosis. Every month we have a support group meeting, and every month we have at least 1 or 2 new families